Hi guys, it's V. So my ridiculously beautiful and wise bestie and deck partner, Chris, did a video on a flip through of the Shadows Tarot. I mentioned it in the last video, but I was really rambling. Didn't make sense. My friend Carla and I did a video, but the thing I want to show today is I haven't uploaded that video Carla and I did, but we were basically talking about it and the Starlight Tarot and working with the two, but I still didn't go through them. So what I'm going to show you today is these are the cards that came with it. It's the astrological correspondences. Now, I don't know much about astrology. I don't use it. And even what she says, I don't even understand what she put. But what I did get from this was like when I was looking at the correspondence for the Pentacles, it tells like, okay, so it's the Ace of Pentacles, card 78, and the correspondences. Then the 2 is card 77. So what it showed me was, even though this wasn't broken into suits, it showed what she put for each card, the astrological correspondence. So here's the thing, even though it doesn't have a tarot structure, the creator, who is Russian and has several decks, she really knows the tarot structure. So some of them do overlap and make sense, whether it means the same or sometimes it means the exact opposite. And sometimes there doesn't seem to be a correlation, but it does go, even though the cards are numbered like after the initial majors, then it goes into 23, 24, all the way to 77. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the cards and what the correspondences are to the regular tarot. So here's the book, and I've written in the book too. You can tell at any one, like Arcane number 57, Solicity. Well, that's part of the 7 deadly sins that are listed, and that does mean lust, and it's also the 8 of swords. I think it's interesting that the 7 deadly sins are in the suit of swords. But before I get into that, I will show you the back of the book. I really like this book. It's well made. It has practical tips, and it says that it's recommended to use the major and minor arcane separately, which I really haven't done. The significator should be taken from the major arcana only unless stated otherwise. And all cards should be read only in the upright position, which is funny since the deck goes backwards. And if desired, you can use the deck of shadows together with other decks, which I have done. It does have a few spreads in it. There's personality characteristics. The spread that we're going to be talking about. And then there's a pentagram spread, which I haven't done. And then an index of where to find the cards. This is the spread that I had briefly mentioned. This is Shadow in the Mirrors. So what you do is you take another deck that you like, and these positions are with the deck that you pick, and that's the way you see the situation. And then you use the Shadow Tarot as the bottom one, the same positions, but this shows you what you might not be seeing or what the reality is. And I've done this a few times, and the interesting thing is when you pretty much have a grasp on it or you're doing well, it's very validating and kind of uplifting. So it's not all dark. It just shows you aspects that you might not be seeing, which is what this whole deck is about. And I think it suggested just using the major arcane, but we didn't. When Carla and I did it, we kind of did it our own way, and we didn't pick out a significator to put in position 5. I like randomly seeing what the significator is. So that's the only different thing we did. Okay, so then this is the end of the book, and it ends with card 78. But I'm going to go from the end to the beginning because that's what it does. Because this is card 78, and it's the magic circle, and it's the Ace of Pentacles. So once I knew and I went through, I was like, well, of course this is the pentacle. And you'll see there's the cup, the sword, and the wand. So card 78 is the magic circle, which is the Ace of Pentacles. Then the Two of Discs is Fantasy Lord. Now in the Rider-Waite-Smith, this is practical, accomplished multitasking. But in this, it's not so much. You aren't, and the Two of Pentacles is one of my favorite cards right now, like multitasking but doing it well. You know, this is the exact opposite, not doing it so well. And then let's see, the Three of Discs is Mars Cruelty. The Four of Discs is Mercury's Smile. So this would be the Five of Discs, the Six, the Seven. I haven't, the Eight of Discs. I mean, look, I haven't kept up with each one because I don't know these symbols yet very well. The symbol of Jupiter's spirit, the Eight of Discs there is the symbol of the Sun's spirit. And here's the Nine of Discs. And this is suffering the consequences of poor choices, where the Nine of Discs usually in, you know, the standard tarot deck is talking about the culmination of these choices and actually doing well. But this is regretting those choices. The Ten of Discs correlates with Lady Shallot's Mirror. There's a long poem and a story that goes with this, but again, it's pretty much the opposite of what our Ten of Discs usually is. And then we go into the Court of the Discs. So the Wandering Jew is what they call this in the book. It's Page. Orpheus is the Knight. Forbidden Fruit is the Queen. And then Abracadabra is the King of Discs. And I love what the book had to say about Abracadabra too. That's awesome. So let me catch up. Now we are at card 64. We've gone back. And this is the 8th. Then it goes into the Suit of Swords. So Excalibur is the Ace of Swords. Magic Ointment is the Two of Swords. And then we get into the 7 deadly sins. So gluttony is the Three of Swords, which I think is pretty funny. Let me catch up on my book just in case there's something I want to say. Okay, envy is the Four of Swords. Avarice is the Five of Swords, which is greed. I think that correlates pretty well. The Six of Swords, laziness. The Seven of Swords is wrath. The Eight of Swords, felicity. It's lust. Nine of Swords is swagger or pride. And then I think it's funny, the Ten of Swords, a card that most of us are like, oh yeah, it's trolls. Then we move into the Suit of the Swords. So instead of the Page of Swords, it's got Ghost. Monk Abel for the Knight. Witch Ericthro. I know I'm not saying that right. It's the Queen. And then as the King of Swords, we have Agrippa. All right, then we're moving into, with card 50, going backwards, we're moving into the Suit of Cups. And the Ace of Cups is card 50, and that's the Holy Grail. The Two of Cups, 2 black candles. The Three of Cups is Job, which just cracks me up because the Three of Cups, my girlfriend's card, it's not just celebrating, it's that inner circle. When Job, his inner circle gave him very bad advice. So that's pretty funny to me that ends up being the Three of Cups. Tobias and the Demon is the Four of Cups. And then we go into some plants and herbs. And so for the 5 of Cups, we start that. And then we have, what is it? Parsley, basil, and fern for the 5 of Cups. This is like the things that the 5 of Cups usually portrays, that grief or regret, you know, that sadness. These are protection from that, which I thought was pretty interesting. And then 6 of Cups is the peony. I love those. I love that that's the 6 of Cups. That's beautiful. 7 of Cups, spoon of rosemary. 8 of Cups, angelica herb. 9 of Cups. And then the 10 of Cups is holy water. We get into the courts. 40 instead of the Page of Cups. It's inventors of evil. The Knight of Cups is a centaur. And then as the Queen and King of Cups, we have Lady Penderswick, which it tells the story about them. And Lord Penderswick as the King of Cups. So that brings us into the suit of the wands. And that is, let's see, that starts with number 36. So the Ace of Wands is the magic wand. 2 of Wands, scapegoat. 3 of Wands, the 3 fates. I love that one. 4 of Wands is the 4 winds. I think it's brilliant the way she put these together. 5 of Wands is sorcery tools. 6 of Wands, sorcerer's protection. 7 of Wands, protection from evil spirits. 8 of Wands, Archimedes' mirror. I haven't read about this one yet. So the 9 of Wands is the ring of Festrata. 10 of Wands, voodoo ritual. And then we've got for the Page, Simon of Serene. Knight is the Archons. Queen of Wands, Daughters of Men. King of Wands, False Prophets. Then we move into the major arcane, starting with 22. Let's see, I've made a lot of notes in my book, so I'm just trying to go through this pretty quickly. So the Fool is the it's the Antichrist. It's 22 instead of 0, since it does kind of go backwards. Some other decks do that as well, but I love how mischievous he looks. So the World is Black Mass. Judgment is the Last Judgment. The Sun shows an actual solar eclipse. That's called Grace. The Moon is refracted light. The Star is the Star of Lucifer. The Tower, embodiment of evil. Isn't it funny that if you're going to do tarot and mess with a lot of decks, you got to learn your Roman numerals, at least to the number 22. So then the Devil card, which that surprises me that it's, I've got to look this one up too. I don't think I've studied this one yet. 14, Temperance is mirrors. The Witch's Sabbath is death. 12, the Hangman is exorcism. Justice is necromancy. The Wheel is the reversed wheel. The Hermit is victim of temptation. Vulgar magic. Beelzebub and Astaroth instead of the Chariot. The Lovers. Baal-Berith, Lord of the Covenant. I don't know how to say that. For 5, that's instead of the hair font. For the Emperor is Lucifer. Empress, Hecate. Lilith is the High Priestess. And then number 1, the Fool, is Satan. So that is the correspondences. I just wanted to show that real quick. I love this deck. I really do. It's a great shadow deck. I've gifted it to a few people because I love it so much. I did show the smaller version, which I like that for when I'm doing majors on majors, but there's just something about it, and I use this with different decks. I love how big and beautiful this deck is. So I've got a few more to do. I'm going to, Chris and I are taking my parents to the UCF-USF game today, so I'm gonna have to do a couple of the videos when I get back, but I've gotten some great stuff. Oracle of Oddities, the new first edition, she reprinted, Black and the Moon reprinted it to raise money for the victims of the hurricane in Puerto Rico. I got a couple cool oracles in, so I'll be doing videos on all that when I get home, but this one I wanted to really put out there because I loved that Chris did the flip through of it, but even some people in the comments were asking about how it lined up, if it lined up, and the more I study it, it kind of does. She's kind of brilliant. So that's it for right now. I'm going to go ahead and get this uploaded so I can at least get one out there. I hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Oh, and the live chat. That was so much fun. I do want to do my Oracle Obsessed. I don't know if I'm going to do it live yet. It's hard when I'm doing it by myself. One, I missed all of the chat. I have no idea who was really there. But when I do go to Casadega next weekend, B and I are going to try to do a live chat. But it was a lot of fun, but I still want to do that Oracle Obsessed. And thank you everyone who jumped in and was very patient with me. So it was a lot of fun. And I want to do it again. I know that we love live chats because it's a great way for us to connect in real time. And I think the people that do the live chats need to be able to hop on a live chat sometimes and be a part of the chat like we enjoy so much. So that's it for now. I will talk to you soon. Love you guys. See ya.